Greetings, I am Pillar Nexus Anti-Glider today with Pillar Loves Tabletop Games. Today's episode is a classic brought back Raw. Game of set collection, auctions, and Egypt. It's a fun time. Alright, goal of the game is to have the most points at the end. You'll be tracking your points with these little tokens that you'll keep face down for duration of the game. As part of the setup, depending on the number of players, number of sun discs will be distributed based on number of players. The more players, the more sun discs that are used. These are how you bid on your auctions. As part of the setup, disc number 1 will always be on the auction board, and the sunboat will start based on the number of players. This is how soon the epoch ends. At the end of each epoch, players will score based on the various tiles they've won across the auctions for that turn. Monuments are only scored in the third. And it is after the third epoch when the game ends and most points wins. So, once the game is set up and the very nice bag of tiles is mixed up, well, the player with the highest number sun disc will go first. They have 3 actions. Draw a tile and add it to the board. So there's a civilization tile. So that's their turn. Then it proceeds around clockwise. Players can continue adding tiles to the board. They can choose to invoke Raw, which is to set off the auction early. Setting off the auction while the track is not full means whoever invokes Raw has to take the auction, has to bid on the auction if no one else does. If they invoke it while the track is full, then everyone has the option to pass and basically wipe it clean. Depending on the disasters, you might want to. And also, finally, your third action is to spend your god tile for a tile that's on the track. I believe the god tile is removed from the game. It has been a little while. Yeah, it's just removed from the game. And whoever's bidding on the auction has one less tile to look forward to. One of the tiles that may come up is the Raw token. Moves the sunboat, and as long as the sunboat's not moving into the end of the epoch, it'll set off an auction. The player who draws the tile will take the Raw token, or the Raw figure, the Raw statue, as they call it, and they'll have the advantage of bidding last. So what are all these tiles? What do they do? Aside from the Raw token that moves the boat one space. First off, we have monuments. Monuments are not scored until the last epoch of the game. You get points if you have multiples of the same kind. Like 3 of a kind gets you 5. 4 of a kind gets you 4 or 10. 5 of a kind gets you 15. Alternatively, and additionally, having monuments of the different types gets you points as well. If you just have 1 to 6 different kinds, you get 1 point for each. If you can get 7 different monuments, it's 10, and 8, all 8 gets you 15. Monuments are weak to earthquakes. When you pull disasters, you discard 2 of that type if you have them. If you only have one, you discard that one. So there's monuments. The game gives you, your little board gives you 2 rows to work with because you're expected to get a lot of them. But ultimately, it doesn't matter what row they're on for scoring. Pharaohs. Little pharaoh tiles. If you have the most for scoring, you get 5 points. If you have the least, you lose 2 points. Since everybody starts with 10, it gives you something to actually lose, though. If everyone's tied, nobody gets anything. We'll get to the Flood Nile last. God tiles. They're worth 2 points each if you don't spend them. There may be not a whole lot of good options to spend them on, so it's fine to just hold on to them. Gold tiles are worth 3. Which, it's kind of funny that you can trade a 2-point god for a 3-point gold. It's just, I find that amusing. Civilization tiles. The various aspects of Egyptian civilization of the time. There's 5 different ones. As long as you have at least 3 different ones, you get 5 points. 4 different ones, 10. And all 5 different kinds, 15. If you have no civilization tiles at all, you lose 5 points. No pharaohs and no civilization is just going to bring you down in the game. Civilizations are vulnerable to this disaster. Pharaohs are vulnerable to the thing that all men are vulnerable to at the end. And then finally, there's Flood and Nile. In order to score points for your Nile, you have to have at least 1 flood. You get a point for each flood tile you have, and then as long as you have a flood tile, each of your Nile tiles, it is worth a point. If you have a flood but no Nile, then at least you get the flood points. But if you have a Nile and no flood, you don't get anything. Droughts will take out your floods before you lose it. Before taking out your Nile. And you'll take your points in the form of these tokens that are provided with the game, and then keep them face down. And then the next epoch will start, and we'll go through till the 3rd, and then the 3rd will end, and the most points will win. So this is a game I haven't played in at least a decade. It's been a while. Why do I like the game? Oh wait, there's one of the aspects of the auction that comes up are the sun discs. Whoever bids the most for them, their sun disc goes out and they get whatever the sun disc was there. And it's entirely possible, if you're not careful, to end up with a lot of the lower numbers, and that is not the position you want to be in. Especially when, at the end of the game, you will look at the combined total of your sun discs, and the highest total gets a 5-point bonus, while the lowest gets a 5-point penalty. And that wild approach to the auction is one of the things I think is interesting, and part of why I recommend the game. It's just a solid game of set collection and bidding. which I already have with Medici, but one, it's Egypt, and two, the Sun Disk system is so out there that I kind of have to respect the approach. And three, the whole being able to kind of mess with the auctions to deal with disasters. The weird the way each thing does something different. I think that's even cooler. But yeah, this came out recently. Guess what's also coming back? Tigris and Euphrates. I'm looking forward to that too. But yeah, if you've never played Raw before, it is a classic game. And I'm always up for playing it. So let's play it sometime. Alright, thanks very much for watching. This is Pillar, and I'll see you next time.